Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, like to seek the blessings of Krishna Balaram, Gauritai, Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madhav, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So we continue with Sraddha. We're looking at the broader picture of Sraddha and the journey of the soul anyway. We'll touch upon, hopefully today, try to finish the sessions, the Sraddha sessions anyway. Let's see. So there's a pastime of Ajamil given in the Bhagavatam, 6th canto. He was a Brahmin who was a young lad. He was, for the first 18 years of his life, he was very devoted. He was once sent by his father to the jungle to fetch some leaves and twigs to make a fire sacrifice. Ajamil met there a beautiful Shudra woman. He actually saw this couple actually having intimate relations in the Homanigati. Oh, okay. Because it's got a noise. It's got to so yeah. He met so he saw this couple interacting, and he became very he became very attracted to that. He forgot everything. He made that woman his wife, and there were children born to him. In fact, he turned into from a good Brahmin boy, he turned into a thief to maintain his family. So he did all sorts of sinful activities. Now, when he reached the age of 88, everybody left him because he was too old. They didn't care for him. His wife left him. His children left him. But there was a 5-year-old boy called Narayan who stayed there. And Ajamil was about to die. And at that time, the Yamadutas, the agents of Yamaraj, arrived. The Yamadutas are frightening. Let me just give you an idea. There you go. This is what the Yamadutas look like. Here they are on this side. They're pretty aggressive characters with ropes in their hands. Anyway, when Ajamil saw them, he shouted out the name of his youngest child, Narayan, because only Narayan was with him. So he called out to him, Narayan, help me. Hearing the repeated call of his name, of the name Narayan, the servants of Vishnu appeared there, and they argued with Yamdutas. So Ajamil was witnessing this discussion. The Yamaduta said, hey, this fellow is not sinful. He's chanted the name of Narayan. And the Yamaduta said, no, he's a sinful person. All his life he's committed sin, most of his life. We have to take him, we have to bind him and punish him. But the Vishnuduta said, no, he chanted the name of Narayan, and that absorbs him from all sins. Now, the Yamadutas argued, no, he was chanting the name of his son, Narayan. Vishnudutas replied, doesn't matter. The name of Narayan is so powerful, even if he did not intend the Supreme Lord Narayan, the name itself is so powerful, it will purify him. It purifies him. So the Yamadutas had to leave. Vishnudutas won the argument. And from that day, Ajamil became a devotee of Vishnu. He witnessed what was the discussion that was taking place. And he started doing penance on the banks of the Ganga. After some years, he attained salvation. So Ajamil was saved from hell because he chanted Narayan. Now, this is a point. Afterwards, the Yamadutas went to Yamaraj and said, what's going on here? We thought you were the Supreme. Is there somebody more powerful than you? So then Yamaraj explained, yes, there is somebody. And he said to the Yamadutas that even if a devotee by mistake, even if somebody by mistake or because of bewilderment or illusion commit sinful activities, because they are protected from sinful reactions, because they are always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he also explained that the name of Narayan is so powerful that you cannot touch anybody who chants that name, even if they don't intend that name to be directed towards the Supreme Lord. So, Paramhamsas are exalted persons who have no taste for material enjoyment, who drink the honey of the Lord's lotus feet. My dear servants, bring to me for punishment only those persons who are averse to the taste of that honey, who do not associate with Paramhamsas, who are attached to family life, worldly enjoyment, form the path of hell, to hell. My dear servants, please bring to me only those persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties towards Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. So this shows that even a small amount of devotion can save one from hell, basically. So that's very, very powerful. Now, there are some modern encounters with these Yamadutas. So somebody might say, hey, this is just fiction. Actually, it's not, because there have been some very powerful skirmishes with the Yamadutas. One day, a very freakish artist came to the Sochi temple with Sri Upanishad in his hand and told the devotees his story. I was looking for you people for 3 days. I am unbelievably glad that I finally found you. One day I bought this book. So he couldn't even remember its name or author, Prabhupada. He just said some things and he tried to read it. But it was very difficult to understand, so many strange words. So he put it away in his shelf and he didn't care about it. Now, he used to drink a lot of alcohol. Now, one day, while he was drinking, he was in his bed, he heard some strange noises nearby. It was something absolutely new. He was looking for the source of that noise and he saw two people discussing something. They were speaking about him, about my life, about how sinful I have been. They were recounting all my sins in great detail, which I even didn't remember. And also a few good things. Finally, they came to the conclusion, he must go to hell. I was screaming in protest, I don't want to go to hell, and didn't know what was going on at all. But anyway, at once, one of them put a stringent rope on my neck. I tried to get rid of it and run away, but to no avail. The rope was very tight. I was almost finished, but suddenly a cover picture of this book, Sri Upanishad with Lord Keshav and Sheshnath, appeared before my eyes. It was actually not picture, but reality. The snake was moving and out of a sudden, a flame emanated from his many mouths. Totally bewildered about it, I asked those persons, what does this all mean? They answered, this is just the hell where you are going to go. But all of a sudden, everything disappeared and I woke in my bed, completely shocked. Immediately, I stopped drinking and smoking and tried to find you devotees, to find explanation about all of this. I beg on my knees, let me stay somewhere. So this is a very interesting story. So this story refutes the scientific theory that one's near-death experience is influenced by her cultural background. Easterners are supposed to have different experiences than Westerners. There are more stories of Westerners who meet the Lord or the servants of Lord of Death, Yamraj. There's a book actually been written by Carlis Osis and Elendur Haraldsson at the hour of death. They relate how a girl on the brink of death told people present that the Yamadutas had thrown their ropes around her. Later, rope marks were found on her legs. So interesting. Now, the pure devotee, however, is always with the Lord. But a pious person who is not completely fixed in Krishna consciousness, in old age, afflicted with diseases and unfavorable health conditions, knowing death to be near, should be fearless and alert. It should make reparations for any sins committed, knowingly or in ignorance. When it is near the time of to die, one must perform his ablutions by. So these are recommendations for somebody who's in old age and time for leaving this body is coming. Worship Vishnu in the form of Shaligram. Give a gift of a decorated cow, Vaitarani, to a Brahmin to ensure his safe passage over the river of death. That river is called actually Vaitarani. Or give it a cash equivalent if cow is unavailable. So this is something that's very practical to do. We're very fortunate. We've got a very, very nice devotee in Vrindavan who facilitates this activity of purchasing a cow and giving it to giving it a proper home where it's protected. We just really recently did sponsor a cow. One Mataji, her son died actually some 3 years ago, only 36-year-old boy from cancer, and she bought a Gomata, and that Gomata will be donated to Goshala. And it was very good in terms of price. Rupees was 55,000 rupees, and it's about 600 pounds, which I was amazed. There was a cow and a calf together. So it's something that's very easy to do for us. And it's not just a pious activity, it's a spiritual activity anyway, protecting cows. So anyway, and also then first is Vishnu, worship Vishnu, give a Gomata, worship with fragrant substances, with flowers, red saffron, tulsi leaves, worship with incense, lamps, offering of foods and many sweets and other things. Give gifts to the Brahmins and the Vaishnavas. Feed them with Mahaprasad. Most importantly, chant the holy names of the Lord. So these things need to be done. He should call to mind and listen to the names of Krishna and Vishnu. The name of Hari coming within the range of Hari hearing takes away the sins of men. Relatives coming near the deceased should not mourn. The Lord's holy name should be remembered and meditated upon repeatedly. So one who's passed away, the relatives, if they start crying and that soul is still present, he will feel attached, more attachment. I can't leave, they're crying. So we are holding that soul back by crying. Those who recite the holy names of Krishna near the deceased are called relatives. This is a good point. They are really the well-wishers of that person. They're chanting Hare Krishna. Of him who gives voice to the auspicious name Krishna, tens of millions of great sins are quickly reduced to ashes. Even the dying Acharya reached the spiritual world Vaikuntha by pronouncing the name of Narayan, which had been given to his son. How much more than its effect when pronounced with faith? So Narayan didn't even have faith, yet he reached the spiritual kingdom. If we chant with faith, how much more benefit we will get. Hari, meditated upon even by one who has evil thoughts, takes away sins. Fire burns even though accidentally connected. Sinful man is not able to sin when the power of the name Hari is uprooting the sins. This is what the holy name does. It takes away the desire to sin in the first place. Yamaraj said to his servants, bring the man who denies, but O messengers, do not bring the man who meditates on the name Hari. O servants, do not go near those sinless people who take refuge in the lotus-eyed Vasudeva and Vishnu, who is supporter of earth and carries in his hand the conch and the disc. Bring those sinners who always turn away from the nectar of the lotus feet of Vishnu. which are served by the race of Paramahamsas, who know the true essence of things and are without possessions, those whose desires are bound up in the household, which is path to hell. Bring them whose tongues do not pronounce the qualities of and name of the Lord, whose minds do not meditate upon the lotus feet, whose heads never bow to Krishna, who do not offer worship to Vishnu. So this just shows the importance of the holy names and of the Lord and worshipping Supreme. When the soul leaves the body, right, or is dragged out by the Yamadutas, we know this as death. Right? The gross body no longer is occupied by the soul. So the soul never dies. The body is already dead anyway, because it's only made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. The soul, when it's in the body, makes the body look alive. But the point is, the soul will never die. When the soul leaves the body, it's still in existence. According to the Pindopitnichad, the soul no longer has a physical body, stula sarir, after death, but wanders in a subtle body, linga sandra, which is the size of a thumb. Now the soul can neither drink nor eat. In this state, the soul is called preta. The subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and ego. So we have two bodies, the gross body made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and ego. So the subtle body carries the soul out of the physical body. Death involves a contamination period for the relatives of the deceased, whose length varies according to family status. During this time, one should not study the holy scriptures, perform fire sacrifices, worship the deity, can do manasa puja, which is through the mind, or they should not receive guests either. However, if one has taken a vow which involves daily deity worship or study of the scriptures or chanting of the holy names, such vow should not be broken. This contaminated period lasts as follows: 10 days for Brahmins, 12 days for Kshatriyas, 15 days for Vaishya, 30 days for Shudra. So generally, the reason why during these times no scripture is studied or worship is done is because one is very emotional. And in an emotional state, it's not recommended to chant the holy names of the Lord. Well, to do the worship at least, because we'll be doing it out of some requirement. We want something from the Lord. And when we worship the Lord, actually, we don't want anything. We just want to give our savor. And if death strikes a distant relative, the asaucha period, the unclean period, is 3 days. In respect to the 3 types of people, the following is the journey in general terms. Of course, every situation can be different. So the devotees of the Lord are taken by the Vishnu Dutas to the spiritual world by special delivery. For example, Ajamil and Dhruv Maharaj. That applies to the devotees. The pious begin the journey to Yamlok, not to be punished though. The sinful begin the journey to Yamlok after 11 days. So of course, everybody comes within, we do both pious and sinful activities at the same time. So that's why each person's situation is different. But these are general categories. The impious soul takes time to understand and accept the emotional attachment with loved ones was with its previous body. The soul stays around the area for 11 days as he's attached to his near and dear ones. So the deceased does not wander like a ghost in the ether with only a subtle body. So that it doesn't do that, one must make offerings to him. During the contamination period, one offers the deceased daily water to make this disentanglement process easier for the soul. So every day, water is offered during this period. So prayers and intentions of offerings offer solace to the departed soul. On the 11th day after the death, The house is purified, offerings are made to the departed, and 11, if possible, Brahmins are fed. During the 11 days, the soul stays 3 days in water, 3 days in fire, 3 more days in space, and then travels on the wind on the 10th day. On the 11th day, the ceremony, which consists in offering food, small balls of rice cooked in milk with black sesame, ghee, and honey, it should be performed to the deceased and his forefathers. This Pinda ceremony should be performed by the priest, and once the presiding priest has eaten his share of the prasad and leaves after the puja on the 11th day, the Yamadutas will then escort the soul, the departed soul. Performed by the eldest son, this ritual is repeated every month for 11 months, along with true Shad ceremonies during the year. The Pin ceremony ends with a last offering during the 12th month, known as Sapindadi Karana, which enables the Preta to obtain the body of a Prita to enter the heavenly Pritalok planet ruled by Yama. So where is that? That's there. Pritalok is here. Planet of the ancestors. This is the structure of the universe. Of course, such rituals do not erase the karma accumulated by the living entity throughout the past life. The Garud Purana explains that the offerings of Pind reforms a temporary body with organs and senses that are equivalent to those we are familiar with. This body is built as follows, according to the Garud Purana. So there are different offerings that are made, and each offering is equivalent to giving here the soul, the body, the next body. First offering is the head, second is the eyes, ears, nose, third offering is the cheek, mouth, neck. Fourth offering is the hair, heart, sides, stomach, sexual organs. Fifth offering is the waist, the arms, and anus. Sixth offering is the thighs. Seventh is the ankles. Eighth is calves. Ninth is feet. 10th is hunger and thirst. So in that way, those offerings are very important because it develops the body. After the 11th day, the soul begins the journey to Yamlok. Now, Yamlok is 86,000 yojanas from Earth, which is 688,000 miles. Each day, the soul has to travel 2,000 miles. It takes 348 days to reach Yamlok. Those souls that have been pious have an easier journey than those that are impious. Just like traveling in an AC compartment compared to a sleeper class compartment in a train. One passes through 16 cities, zones, before reaching Yamlok, where the soul has to stop and suffer according to his karma. So these are the different cities. I'm not going to go through any detail because this is a little hard to sort of get the head around. But we'll just do a very quick tour of these cities. Yamyapur. We don't want to go through the detail. These are quite challenging places. Yeah? Sauripur. And Sauripur is a younger brother of Yamraj. And in that place, the soul reaches this city in the 2nd month. Pin done in the 2nd month is received by the departed. So the pin ceremony is so important because those pin ceremonies, the pinda is actually given to these souls as they're traveling. And the pin is in 4 parts, 2 for the protection of the covering of the subtle body. 1 is for the Yamadutas. We have to make sure Yamadutas are fed as well, otherwise they give a hard time to the Atma. And 1 part is for nourishment of the temporary body. If no pind or jaldan is done, then the subtle body doesn't get any protection or food. And the Yamadutas also don't get any food, so they become more aggressive towards the soul. So this pin ceremony is quite important. And then we got different places. Nagendra Pavan, Gandharva Nagar, Shaila Gama, Karapur, Kocha, Pichintri Nagar, where the river Vaitarani is flowing. Very dangerous river, which smells horrible due to the bad things in it. It's 800 miles wide, and the soul has to cross it. So this is the one which, if a cow is donated, one does not go through this horrible experience. Bha Padapur, Dukhadpur, Nanakrandapur, Sutapta Bhavan. And can't read that last one, unfortunately. Okay, so this is an interesting picture. Chitragupt, he's the one who keeps the notes of all the sins. He's on the left of the throne of Yamraj. Yamraj is here, and the soul is brought before Yamraj. Chitragupta is recounting the bad and the good deeds done. And it is said that, yeah, that's fine. Finally, one reaches the gate of Yamraj. His court is 32,000 miles wide, 14 doorkeepers. They're listening to all of our conversations throughout our life on earth. They've been also seeing our activities. They have an up-to-date record of our deeds, conversations, activities. Their wives are even more clever. They have the ability to know what our thoughts are. So all these are also recorded for each soul. If anyone who has heard about Krishna or heard the Mahamantra in their lives are considered special souls, and a message is sent to Yamraj informing them of this. Yamraj welcomes these souls with a lot of respect. Those souls who have been impious are punished before they are sent to Chitragupt, then to Yamaraj. To the impious souls, Yamraj seems ferocious. He's dressed in black, holding a Yamdanda made of iron in one hand. He has death ropes in the other. His eyes are red. He has fangs. He's 24 miles in height. For the pious, Yamaraj looks like a gentleman with handsome form. So Yamaraj welcomes these souls by getting up from his throne and gives them a seat. He knows a pious soul is going to heaven, so he blesses them before sending him there. The soul enters the court of Yamaraj, who consults with Chitragupt, the recorder of all one's deeds. Chitragupt reads out from the great register of worldly deeds called the Agra Sandhani Aka. Also known as the Akshak records, the wrongful and good actions the soul has performed in his her life. The information obtained through the services of the Shravanas and the Shravanis. So these are the doorkeepers, yeah, and their wives. Then Yamaraj meets out with justice by condemning those whose terrible sinful acts led to a hellish existence of pains, torture, and this is only temporary. Nobody is eternally condemned. The punishment is according to one's sins. Those who are virtuous and perform only noble and righteous deeds are raised to the status of Prithus and sent to the heavenly planets to reap the rewards of their good actions. So this is a little idea of different types of hells. Actually, in the Bhagavatam, 28 different types of hells are described. I'm not going to go through those, but depending on how bad we've been, there are 28 different types of places which we may end up in, just to suffer for those deeds. So we can easily avoid the Yamadutas, chanting the holy name, especially Mahamantra, worshipping Tulsi, very, very important. When the body of when a dead body is buried, cremated, Tulsi twigs are used as firewood. So Tulsi is such a powerful, if we have Tulsi beads around our neck, then we're also protected from Yamaraj. So Tulsi is very, very important. All these different aspects of Tulsi, we should think when somebody passes away to give them the benefit of all of this. Okay, so now just wanted to have a quick discussion on Shraddha.
So basically, what do you do during the Shraddha period? So Bharatiya culture says that just as we serve our parents and close relatives when they're alive as part of abiding by our dharma, we have certain duties unto them after their death. So the Shraddha rites provide us with an excellent opportunity to fulfill these duties and repay our debts unto our ancestors or Pitas. The Shraddha rites are necessary so that the journey after death of our parents who have taken our utmost care during our childhood becomes comfortable without any distress, and that they acquire sadgati, or rising up to a higher level. If Shraddha is not performed, the desires of the Pitrus remain unfulfilled, and negative energies make easy victims of such desire-ridden Pitrus and then enslave them. So activities during Shraddha. Shraddha rituals consist of the following main activities: Vishwa Deva Stapana, Pindan, Tarpan, and feeding the Brahmins. So Pindan is the offering of rice, cow's milk, ghee, sugar, and honey in the form of a pind, which is a rounded heap like a laddu, to the ancestors. And Pindan should be done with wholeheartedness, devotion, sentiments, and respect to the deceased soul to fulfill it. Tarpan is the offering of water mixed with black sesame, barley, kushagrass, and white flowers. It is believed that the ancestors are appeased by the process of tarpan. And then feeding the Brahmin is a must to complete the Shraddha ritual. Offering to the crows are also made before food is offered to the Brahmin, because it's said that the crows are actually the vehicles that take our offerings to the Yamduts and also to the ancestors. And why Shraddha is done? So according to the Garud Puran, after 13 days of the death, the soul starts its journey for Yampuri, and it takes 17 days to reach there. And the soul travels to Yampuri for another 11 months, and only in the 12th month it reaches to the court of Yamraj. During the period of 11 months, it has no access to the food, like as we've been discussing this now, and water. So it is believed that Pindan and Tarpan done by the son and family members satisfy the hunger and thirst of the soul during its journey till it reaches the court of Yamraj. Hence, the Shraddha rituals are considered very important during the first year after death. And the Amavas Tithi Shraddha, which is the last Shraddha day, is done for those deceased family members who died on Amavas Tithi, Purnima Tithi, and Chaturdasi Tithi. And if someone is not able to perform Shraddha on all the tithis, or they don't remember, then this single Shraddha is done for all of them to appease all the deceased souls in the family. If you forget the death anniversary or the tithi census, then you do it on this last day of the Shraddha. That's why Amavas Shraddha is also known as Sarva Pitra Moksha Amavas. Also Mahalaya Shraddha for those who died on Purnima Tithi is also done in Amavas, because the Shraddha period does not have Purnima Tithi in it. So that is also done on the Amavas Tithi, and not on the Bhadrapad Purnima, which is the day before Shraddha starts, actually. Although Bhadrapad Purnima Shraddha falls one day before Pitru Paksh, it is not part of Pitru Paksh. That's why it's not done on that day. So in practice, the person who performs the Shraddha invites the Brahmins that day, invokes in them the divinity of his or her parents, worships and feeds them, and performs a fire sacrifice, appeasing Agni and Soma, the deities who transmit the offerings to the ancestors, nourish and protect them, and offers bowls of rice to the departed souls, which is the Pind Pradhan. The offerings are made of to 3 generations, i.e. father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, etc. And the person who's performing extends hospitality to the priest and concludes the ceremony by giving dakshina to the Brahmins. There are various other actions done to show respect to the Brahmins, like washing their feet, etc., during the course of the Shraddha ceremony. And crows are also revered in Sanatana Dharma. And during Shraddha, the practice of offering food or pin to crows is still done. So that's what one does in Shraddha.
I think there will be, of course, variations
That's right.
according to one where one is brought up and
What one has followed.
lives and what one has followed. Yeah. Any questions? Any comments? I think most people will be doing some sort of Shraddha. The last day of Shraddha is, where is that day? Remember? We do have it somewhere. We'll reveal that next time. And what we're planning to do is in Vrindavan. We will be in Vrindavan at that time, so we're hoping to feed many Brahmins and pilgrims, devotees actually. And if anybody wants to participate, let us know. There's no, you don't have to.
Do we send you donation?
You can, and it doesn't have to be much. I mean, in Bharat, it's amazing. I think for like maybe 100 or 200 rupees, like £2, you can feed very sumptuously the Brahmins, one Brahmin. So
Suppose if I send some money in that thing in your
yeah,
Live account.
Yeah.
Your live account. Bank
but you
account.
need to let me know, huh, when you do that, because I will.
what day you going?
We're going to be there. When are we going to be there?
21st of September. But I can tell you just a minute.
We'll tell you the date when Shraddha is.
Okay, just text me before. I can do it transfer 2 days before.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just
I'll
message
do
me, yeah?
what I inside me. Yeah.
Yeah, just message.
Definitely. Thank you. It's very nice you are there. That's why.
Yeah, good.
One more question in this article you read just now. When you say the Poonam doesn't count, so when is the Poonam start? It always says it's the first Sraddha today.
No, it's usually starts the day after Purnam.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
So-
if someone has passed away on the Purnima Tithi,
Yeah.
and they're saying that you should do it on the Amavas, which is the last day. Because it's
Okay.
Purnima in the period of Shraddha. So the
Right,
last day of
alright.
Shraddha is actually Sunday, the 25th of September.
All right. That's fine. Thank you.
No
Thank you
problem.
very much.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you for the
you.
That's okay.
Well, thank you so much.
really, it was very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Jain
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Any further questions, comments? Otherwise, we'll stop.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Sudev.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I have one question. It is in the chat. I put it in the
Oh,
chat.
did you? Okay, so we don't read the chat. What will happen if the Pindan Shraddha could not be done if the deceased one has no kids or no one is ready to do? In circumstances, this happens. Yeah, very true. Very practical point.
I mean, if someone doesn't have any children, even the brothers and sisters can do that on behalf of the deceased relative. Any relative in that family can do it on their behalf. Does that answer the question?
Any
Senior?
relative, even if, say,
Yes,
somebody
but
has no relatives, you can
in
ask
case,
the priest,
okay.
in the temple. You can ask the priest in the temple, please. Oh, I see. If you're dead, how could you ask the priest?
Or if you have a close friend or someone, maybe you advise them before while you're still alive. If something does happen to me, are you prepared to do this pindan on for me?
Okay, but in case nobody wants, what should be done?
Before one dies, you if you have a situation where you don't have anybody to do these things for you, before one dies, you do as much as possible. You donate everything you have if you can, in the service of the Lord, the service of the devotees. isn't it?
Mm. Or then, or maybe if you can find a reputable priest, you can
Mm.
ask them that, you know, if something does happen to me, please conduct the pindan for me.
And yeah, you can give them, you know, like some money so that they do fulfill that. Even in your will, you know, in your will, you can specify, you know, I'd like this to be done on my behalf. So it is a tough question.
Mm.
It is a tough question because if you've got no one, it becomes challenging. But, you know, you can build a relationship with the devotee of the Lord, and the devotees are always going to help, you know.
Yeah.
Can I join the conversation?
Yeah.
Mm.
In in our communities, always, if you haven't got children like that, there is the son of the brother's son can do it.
Correct.
Of uncle.
Correct.
Yeah, that's why I said.
And if and if the father hasn't got any sons, then daughter can do everything.
But he's saying if there's no one at all, if there's no one,
that is
then what,
difficult.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
if you
And,
can find someone who you can have a good relationship with, you know, during your life, I'm
That's
sure they would
right,
be willing to do that.
do it. Yeah, do it for you. Yeah. And something else also. I'm sorry, but I'm just telling something else also, because I heard in my community, some people, they go in India and they do their pindan alive, then they're not worried if the children will do it or children won't do it. And is this true? Like the people go and do it their own pindan before they die?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
I doubt if that can work, but if one does dan, if one does like give donations,
charity,
go mata,
for
it will help, no doubt about it.
Yes, go mata, that's right. My mother-in-law done that before she died.
Wow,
so
very
it's
good.
It's good, you know.
Very good, very good.
Mm.
Only thing is we don't know when we're going to die. So
early,
No,
early you do it, the better.
Early you do it is the better. Yeah, you're right.
And the opportunity is so good now, you know, because we can actually, and we're going to go and see these Go Matas when we are in Vrindavan. The ones that I think in total, we've had about 5 or 6 Go Matas donated to different Go Matas.
Yeah, when you do donation Go Mata with the little baby, the calf, the Brahman should be all right to look after this cow, or we still have to pay him?
No, we should. Well, we as the charity,
we give it as a dan. After that, do we still have to carry on paying for him?
Well, we do it as a charity. We continue.
All right, only as a charity. All right, thank you.
Yeah, we continue.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Carry on. Thank you.
Because it's important, you know, you just can't give the cow and say, okay, you know, here it is, goodbye.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we should continue.
Sometimes the Brahmin are not rich; they are just poor, and it's difficult to look after the cow and the baby. So we still have to give money to look after the cow.
Yes,
which is good, which is very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna. Stop now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, yes, Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. This is
Was that okay, Sunil? Did that help?
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot.
And happy to discuss this separately if you want to, yeah? And we can even help if you want us to do something, or if you want us to do something on behalf of somebody else. So Okay. Shri Krishna
Okay,
Chandra
thank you.
ki jai.